In a quaint little town tucked between rolling hills, there was a shop unlike any other. Its wooden sign, carved with intricate gears and cogs, read, "Merrick's Timepieces." Inside, clocks of all shapes and sizes lined the shelves, from grandfather clocks to tiny, delicate pocket watches. Each ticked in perfect harmony, filling the shop with a soothing symphony of time. Merrick, the owner, was a master clockmaker. He was an elderly man with sharp eyes, nimble fingers, and a beard as white as the winter snow. But what set Merrick apart wasn't just his skill, it was his secret. His clocks weren't just tools to measure time, they could also bend it. One evening, as the sun dipped behind the hills, Merrick was teaching his young apprentice, Nora, the art of crafting a perfect clock. Nora was a curious girl with wild curls and a love for tinkering. She had been working with Merrick for months, but had yet to learn the truth about his magical clocks. "Merrick, tonight you'll learn something special," Merrick said, his voice as steady as the ticking of the shop's largest clock. He placed a half-finished pocket watch in front of her. Its face was blank, and its gears were silent. "Merrick, this is no ordinary watch. When it's finished, it will allow its owner to relive a single moment from their past, just once. But be warned, time is a delicate thing, and meddling with it has consequences." "Nora, you mean it can take someone back in time?" "Merrick, precisely. But only to a memory they hold in their heart." Excitement and nervousness bubbled within Nora as she carefully worked on the watch. She polished the tiny gears, engraved the case with delicate vines, and set a smooth piece of crystal over the face. Merrick guided her hand, teaching her the ancient symbols that powered the watch's magic. When it was finally complete, the pocket watch gleamed under the warm glow of the shop's lanterns. Merrick held it up and smiled. "Merrick, you've done well. Now you must test it." "Nora, but I'm not sure what moment to relive." "Merrick, close your eyes. Let your heart decide." She did as he said, and almost immediately a memory surfaced. The last time she saw her mother. It was a rainy day, and her mother had kissed her forehead before leaving for a long journey. That memory had always felt bittersweet, as her mother never returned. With trembling hands, Nora wound the watch and pressed the tiny button on its side. In an instant, the world around her shimmered, and she found herself standing in her childhood home. Rain pattered against the windows, and there in the doorway was her mother, smiling, alive and beautiful. "Nora." "Mum?" Nora whispered, tears streaming down her face. Her mother turned and knelt, wrapping Nora in a warm embrace. "Mother, oh my sweet girl, I love you more than anything." The moment was brief, like a shooting star, and soon Nora felt herself being pulled back to the shop. She opened her eyes to find Merrick watching her, his expression kind but knowing. "Merrick, how do you feel?" Nora wiped her tears and smiled. "Nora, I feel at peace, thank you." Merrick nodded. "Merrick, that's the gift of time, my dear. It can heal, but it must never be taken for granted." From that night on, Nora devoted herself to the craft, determined to carry on Merrick's legacy. And as the clocks in the shop continued their eternal song, she knew she was no longer just a clockmaker's apprentice. She was a guardian of time itself.